Hello and welcome to Australian Transformers Weekly. We are bringing you Transformers news from around the world and across Australia, and this week I've forgotten to write a funny pun on that part into the run sheet. This is episode 233. We are recording live on Sunday, April 25th, 2021. In this episode, we will be talking about the Leaky ship that has become Amazon Australia, far from not having any Transformers listed when it first launched. Some interesting upgrades coming through for the HasLab Unicron, and there's going to be a little clash of titans. Actually, maybe there's not. I don't know. It depends how much we agree. All this and that and more and all the other stuff is coming up in this week's episode after this. G'day everyone and welcome to the show. I'm Jason. I'm coming to you live from Sydney tonight. Joining me, coming from the other side of the country, we have Bradley. How are you doing, Bradley?
I'm doing quite well. We're in the middle of a 3-day snap lockdown, but that doesn't really faze me. But, you know, other than that, pretty good. How are you?
Is the main difference that you're not allowed to leave the house as opposed to not wanting to?
Pretty much. Like, if you want to go outside, you have to have a mask on. So,
yeah, no, fair enough. I believe they've had 0 new cases found since they declared the lockdown. So, second time it's happened in a couple of months. Anyway,
actually, no, I saw an article that said there's a second hotspot being detected, but no new cases. So
I don't know how you have a hotspot with no cases, but we'll find. We'll find out. Maybe someone was walking around and they found a Wi-Fi hotspot. Oh, guys, we found a hotspot. We have to lock down the city. I don't know.
And the Wi-Fi name is COVID.
Well, then it must clearly be spreading, right? The other voice that you can hear sneering away a long way in the background there is Tony joining us from Sydney. How are you doing, Tony?
Snigger. Yes, I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. How are we all?
Snigger.
Yeah, I'm sniggering. See?
So the picture that I had in my head was sort of Muttley.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
That's good. That's a good one.
That was good, except for the fact that you leaned off camera to do it.
Yeah. We needed to see the face.
I had to get up to the mic.
Fair enough.
Oh, it's glad to be back, guys. It's been ages.
It's been a couple of weeks since we've been on, and the last episode was sort of an episode that was more dedicated to the Hasbro Pulse event thingy, whatever the fuck it was called. Yeah. I think I've nailed that. Yes, I'm being told that I'm right. So yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since we've done a proper news episode. What has been happening besides Bradley obviously being in lockdown?
I'm looking for a new TV show to watch, and I got to admit
Masters.
The Lego Masters. Yeah, I keep hearing good things. I caught the first.
Lego Masters is great. It's probably the best show that's come on TV in the last few years. There you go.
Now, what makes it so good for you?
So there's a couple of things I really like about it. One, I like Lego. Two, I think Hamish Blake is probably one of the most personable and funny people that could be hosting it. And three is they absolutely smash the fourth wall in terms of production and things like that. Like Hamish will talk to the cameraman, and he and Brickman will have little asides where like they'll talk about the best way to present the coming up countdown and things, and whether it'll look good on camera and stuff like that. Like it's the kind of stuff that you would expect a reality TV show to gloss over and not actually speak about. And there was also an episode where Hamish directly claimed that they hadn't ripped an idea off MasterChef when they clearly had.
Okay, right.
So yeah, I find it really funny. I've watched clips of the overseas versions of Lego Masters, and it's so deadly serious. It's just amazing. It's amazing how different and irreverent the Australian one is.
Now, are there any scenes or tasks that the contestants have to do where they have to walk across a room full of Lego bricks barefoot and then someone steps on a Lego brick.
That's Tony Robbins. That's the Tony Robbins reality half hour. Yeah.
Right, okay. Because that would be entertaining for me when someone actually steps on a Lego brick and goes, "Oh shit!" like that, and you've got to like the first person to swear gets thrown out or something like that. If they can do it without swearing, that'd be perfect.
I don't know if they're allowed to swear. I think it might be a PG-rated show.
Oh, okay, bugger.
Yeah. I think there. So there was a very specific moment the other night where someone realised that they'd done something wrong, and they've just gone, "Oh, sugar!" Oh. and Hamish has walked up to them and just gone, "Sounded like you were going to say something a little bit saltier there. Like, are you feeling the pressure? Are you a little bit frustrated?" Like, it's that kind of thing. Like, they'll call it out instead of editing around it. So yeah, Lego Masters, top marks. Really enjoy watching it.
Okay.
Yeah. As our YouTube friend the 13th says, you should also watch The Falcon and the Winter Soldier if you're one of the 4 people who hasn't seen it yet. Also agree. It's a 6 episode show. It's not a big time investment. You could probably knock it over in a day.
So I've watched the first 4. Actually, I'm up to the finale. I haven't seen the finale, but I've found it really slow going though, Jace. I don't know about you, but it's just really dry. I don't know.
I feel like we might need to do an off the rails to talk about Marvel TV shows. But
man, sounds good.
Yeah, like I feel like I enjoy Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but there's massive questions that it raises about what the post Thanos MCU is like, and I don't think it actually answers those questions very well. So yeah, I've enjoyed the show, but I do have problems with what it presents.
Am I allowed to pose one major question about post MCU? Post Thanos universe. Okay. What is the status of Steve Rogers?
Steve Rogers is apparently on the moon. But this is actually like. Sorry, Bradley, if you don't want to talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, I'm going to spend like 30 seconds on it, right? So, Steve Rogers did not die in Endgame, right? Like, he is still around. The word is that he's on the moon. He's massively aged, and also Chris Evans is expensive, so they don't really want to bring him in. But I find it really weird that all of this shit is going on in Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's like, oh, we've got a new Captain America. Oh, he's killed someone, and Steve Rogers doesn't come up and go, "Hey, what the fuck?"
Yeah.
Like, right. What the hell?
Like, they don't have satellite communication on the moon, wherever that is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be some way for him to reach out to Sam somehow and say, "Hey, this isn't on. Here's what I think."
Exactly. So yeah, that is one of my gripes with the show. It's a very typical sort of Marvel TV show thing where it's like, oh, we don't have Steve in our show. Steve will be in something else. Like, he's not. It's like a Marvel thing where, like, in the first series of Daredevil on Netflix, like, they blew up a city block in Hell's Kitchen, and none of the Avengers came to look at it. So,
they were busy.
It's like, they're busy. Like, they're busy. You can't get too many Avengers into one show, right? It must be a movie, but you need budget. So yeah. But yeah, I feel like that is starting to show as a bit of a stress on what they can and can't do on a TV budget. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, like, it'll probably like, oh, first episode of Loki, he'll be there. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Anyway,
sorry, Bradley.
I think we should probably talk about some Transformers, which is the actual reason that we're here. Some Transformers news has been happening around the country. One thing I forgot to put in the run sheet that I do want to talk about very, very briefly, and I don't think I can swing away to get this into the screen sharing time. The War for Cybertron buzzworthy Bumblebee figure, the $29 figure. He's tiny. He's a little bit smaller than the core. He's like a legend scale figure with an anonymous human. If you guys recall the photos of
an entity.
An entity, yes. That is now available for pre-order on the Kmart website. So we can expect that to start appearing in Kmart stores around the country in the next few weeks. It is $29. It's not cheap. Given that the figure itself is smaller than a core figure, we did hear from Ozformers when this was announced that it was a tough one for them to figure out how to price, because it's not it's more than a legend scale figure, but it's less than a deluxe, and it's like, well, your price point probably should have been $24, but instead it's $29. So yeah, it's fairly expensive for what it is, but by all accounts, it's a pretty cool Bumblebee figure. So yeah, if you're into the buzzworthy Bumblebee, word to the wise also, the buzzworthy Bumblebee figures are starting to appear on store shelves in the Studio Series line. Just remember, they are repacks. They're re-releases of existing figures. So if you see them and you see these bright yellow boxes with Studio Series branding, they're not new. If you've been shopping for Studio Series figures previously, you might already own that figure, or you may have passed it up previously for a reason, and that's one of the reasons why they're trying to repack them. So anyway, that said and done, so that's kind of our local availability news. We've been waiting for the Netflix Wave 3 figures to turn up at Kmart in the last couple of weeks, fruitlessly. We've been waiting for Netflix Wave 3, and instead we got buzzworthy Bumblebee. Hopefully we'll see Netflix Wave 3 figures turn up in the next couple of weeks. When that happens, of course, there'll be comments and posts all over the TCCA Facebook group telling you, so you won't miss out. Anyway, in the meantime of that, I'm going to bring in the news screen share, and we're going to talk about the news of the week and some other stuff. So, are you guys ready to go? I feel like I need a news jingle. I might see if we can get it. Might see if we can get a news jingle to sort of like separate our segments out. We'll see how we go. In the meantime, here is a news article from about a month ago, and the reason I wanted to bring this news article up is because this is we didn't actually talk about it on the show because we didn't do an episode of that at the time. Amazon Australia has grown up and it's become the world's premier Leaky ship for Transformers news. We're very proud. Just a couple of years ago, it was like a baby in a pram that when you looked at it and said, "Do you have Transformers?" that went, "No, I've never heard of this thing." But now,
quite articulate for a baby.
I know, yeah. Well, I mean, Amazon's pretty advanced. Now, like, they are the source for leaks. So people are finding listings. I gotta say, I got no idea how they're finding leaked listings and stuff on Amazon Australia, but this has been happening consistently for the last month. March 27th, we saw Deluxe Pterosaur and Deluxe Ranger Puffer. At least we saw their listings appear on Amazon Australia. Nobody really knows what Deluxe Ranger Puffer actually is. There's some speculation that it's a reference to Pipes as he was the blue Huffer variant that was sold as Pipes in Mexico, which seemed like a stretch. But Deluxe Ranger Puffer is apparently coming our way, according to Amazon Australia. It's not the first time it's not the first time. It's not the last time that it's happened in the last little while as well. Amazon Australia just a couple of weeks ago, April the 7th, we found more listings for Goldbug, who's since been rumoured to be a Shattered Glass figure. Another Blur, which might also be the Shattered Glass Blur. I don't know about that. I think this was just before the Hasbro Pulse release. Sideswipe with Night Prowler, Golden Jackpot, Golden Tigertron, Golden Pterosaur. There's some rumour that there's going to be some Golden Disc imprint subline. There's a Unicron Galvatron. That one's interesting. Project Bat. Studio Series Dark of the Moon, Sideswipe, King Starscream, and of course the one that we're all sort of waiting for is the Generation Select Artfire. These have all been found on Amazon Australia. They're gone now. Like as soon as they release these things and they make news, then someone at Amazon realizes that they'll be fired if they don't remove the list and takes them down. So that is more examples of Amazon Australia leaking shit, and today we have another one where this time there's a little bit more to it. Amazon Australia listed a Gen, which is Transformers Generations, WFC-K, which is War for Cybertron Kingdom, Deluxe Mirage, and Grimlock. So it's a 2-pack, and that sort of percolated around the Transformers community online for a little while, and then people realised, hey, it's also listed on Amazon UK where there's a description. So we now see that this is part of the Battle Across Time collection, which the description says the Battle Across Time collection. With this, fans can recreate the duel between G1 and Beast Wars. I wasn't aware that there was a duel, and form teams from Maximals and Autobots. Grimlock and Mirage join together to repel the Decepticons/Predacons. Now, it seems likely that this will be a series. It could be this year's Galactic Odyssey collection, being another collection, Battle Across Time. Whether it's also Amazon exclusive or not, we don't really know. But it does say that they come with exclusive packaging. Each Battle Across Time set has an exclusive design so that impressive battle scenes can be recreated. Maybe this is an evolution of how the Studio Series figures come with a nice backdrop behind them. Now, we're looking at some artwork here that depicts Blur and a Beast Wars Grimlock. Now, Bradley,
Mirage.
as the resident... Oh, sorry, yes, you're right. Mirage, not Blur. Bradley, as the resident expert on Beast Wars, what can you tell us about Beast Wars Grimlock? Because Tony and I certainly don't know.
Well, Beast Wars Grimlock was actually released in the original Beast Wars toy line, and he is a repaint of the Dinobot mold, and it looks like that's what's happening here. Just getting.
I don't think this is actually an actual artwork for the set. I think this is just an artist's impression of these two figures.
Well, it says in the description that Grimlock turns into a Velociraptor. So you know, like Dinobot does. So I'm thinking they're probably just following that precedent.
He probably is. The only reason I was referring to that in the artist's signature, it looks like it's 18 or 19. So I don't think it's a new artwork piece.
Yeah, no, it looks like it's just two bits that are just being slapped together. So say, hey, there's Mirage and there's Grimlock, just in case you forgot who they are.
So in case you don't know what they look like. And there's my cat joining us on the desk as well.
Hello.
So Grimlock was not actually a character in Beast Wars. He was just a toy.
That's correct. Yeah, he wasn't. Okay. He wasn't in the TV show. He was in the Shattered Glass Beast Wars, but that's like a unique comic story from the Collectors Club somewhere in the 20-teens. But yeah, I've actually got a toy of Beast Wars Grimlock. Bastard has gold plastic syndrome.
Oh really? Oh okay. Well, so it looks like he might have some gold legs if this mock-up would be anything to go by. But and do you have any thoughts on why he might be paired up with Mirage?
Nothing I can think of. Like I said, I think Grimlock in Beast Wars was actually like the toy in the Beast Wars line was actually G1 Grimlock. So and I don't even think they had a scene together in the cartoon. Did they have a conversation in the comics, Jason? I
don't think so. I mean, a Grimlock and Mirage maybe at some point, but like not a Beast Wars version. The other piece that's interesting here is that there's been rumors of an Earth mode Mirage coming in Kingdom for a while. Could this be a slightly modified Mirage over his Siege appearance? It could be an Earth mode version.
How would it? I've only seen the War for Cybertron Mirage, but from what I can remember, it looked pretty Earth modey.
He is kind of he's obviously sort of like a Formula One vehicle, but he's got quite a lot of bulk at the back that I think people imagine in an Earth mode would probably be a little bit more smoothed out and a little bit lower. Do you have a War for Cybertron Mirage there, Tony?
I do have one, but I don't have it here. It's stored away. But yeah, that was the thing that sort of stuck out for me about this 2-pack, because clearly it's a new subline that they're trying to create, this Battle Across Time stuff. But it struck me that I had just assumed it was going to be a Siege Mirage for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it was the 20 steps that you change, but I figured that
Wait, you've remembered the number of steps it takes to change Mirage?
Well, I know. I looked on the back of the box when I first got it, and I just remember 20 for some reason. I don't know why, but but it makes me think that if it was an Earth mode version, I mean, yeah, maybe it's still the same number of steps. I don't know. I don't know why I keep thinking it's a Siege one though, because maybe it's because we haven't heard any rumors of an Earth mode version of Mirage. It's always been Earth mode Sideswipe.
No. We've definitely heard an Earth mode Mirage. Rumor.
Have we? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's hard to say whether it's rumor or conjecture, right? Because people have looked at Mirage in Siege and just gone, well, he's not quite an Earth mode. So seeing how other figures are being sort of easily retooled and updated from their Cybertronian mode into an Earth mode, there's an assumption that Mirage will be up for that process as well.
But to Bradley's point before, like, what would you change on the Siege version? I feel like there's not much you would do, really. I mean, maybe changing some of the stickering, because there was like Cybertronian, language on the side of him. Other than that, I just can't see it. Maybe put the 26 on and that's it.
I think some of the bulk at the back probably needs to sort of trim down to be more F1 accurate. But then there's also a question of licensing, whether they do that or not.
Yeah,
I think when I saw the kibble for War for Cybertron Mirage, that's why I stuck with Henkei Mirage, because he's like a little stick.
Right.
Henkei Mirage is like a really tall, lanky version of Mirage. Like he's also not quite the one.
He's not aerodynamic he's not aerodynamic in car mode either. But
he seems alright. So, it seems like we might be getting a new set of collections. Maybe if these are happening, maybe they'll start them earlier in the year so that they don't run into the next toy line as they have with the Earthrise versions. Let's remember that Botropolis, the final set, just came out last month, even though Kingdom is already in full swing. So. It's been a bit of the release of these has been a little bit of a mess, but they're getting there. So hopefully if there's going to be a collection like this on Amazon, they'll be ready to go earlier this year.
This is quite an interesting subline, though, isn't it? Tying War for Cybertron with Beast Wars together in these little 2-packs, and the other one that was on that list you showed before, Jace, was the Sideswipe and Night Prowler one. And Night Prowler, I'm assuming again is a Beast Wars character. Bradley, is that right? Yeah.
No.
Oh, no? Okay.
At least it's not in it could be in the comics, or it could just be a toy, but no, there's no Night Prowler in the Beast Wars cartoon.
Oh, okay. Because that picture's showing something looks very much like Cheetor.
They've already got Cheetor.
Yeah.
I think this might be a digibash of Night Prowler, possibly based on one of the Fun Pub figures.
Right.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not familiar enough with the source material for that.
But if the subline is going to mean that we do get Earth mode versions of some of the Siege or some of the Siege characters, but we have to sort of pay a little bit extra to get a Beast Wars character that arguably some of us don't want, then I'm actually happy to do that.
I was going to say, like, if I want an Earth mode Mirage, I now need to take a Velociraptor Grimlock as well.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of like the Ratchet and Lifeline. Like, I know a lot of people liked Lifeline, but I personally didn't. And so when I got my Ratchet, I just sold it immediately. Sold the Lifeline immediately and kept the Ratchet. Don't know if other people did that as well, but yeah, it's interesting.
I sort of looked at Lifeline and I was like, why do I have you? And then I legit didn't know she had a gun until I saw it in the instruction manual, because that thing is transparent.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell are you doing with your guns? Yeah.
It is interesting, the trend of sort of making transparent versions of weapons, especially when they're so small as they are with the RC mold. I did see something else recently where there was another figure I opened up recently where the weapon was transparent, but I can't remember what it is now. Anyway. Let's move on. We don't really know too much about the Battle Across Time set, but we will find out more in the fullness of time. Let's talk a little bit about Studio Series 86. Some of these stories have been circulating around the internet for a little while, so if they are slightly old news, it's because we didn't do an episode last week. We are seeing, I would say, more than rumors, we're seeing leaks of the second Studio Series 86 leader, which is going to be Slag. Whether or not he's renamed to Slug or anything, we'll find out.
Probably Slug, yeah.
But we are looking forward to the second of our leader class Dinobots coming along in the Studio Series 86 wave, which I feel like it should be due for release shortly, because we've had the Studio Series 86 figures on shelves since December. That's a good It's a good 4 months now. So it is about time for the next wave to come out. So Slug, being a leader class figure, he does come with a small wheelie like character, which is said to be Daniel. I'm looking for the photo of Daniel there.
Yeah.
He's very wheelie-like in that his legs are locked into position, and he's very buzzworthy Spike-like in that his exosuit doesn't show a face whatsoever.
Yeah, but at least now you can recreate all those times Slag and Daniel had adventures together.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Finally.
Or you can create your new adventure where Slag and Humpty Dumpty decide to go on adventures together.
It would be a terrible shame if they had a great fall.
What would all the king's horses do?
They'd have scrambled eggs.
I'll tell you what, they certainly wouldn't put Daniel together again.
But this is hilarious because it's a good callback to the beginning of the podcast when you talked about Buzzworthy Bumblebee, because I remember we had this discussion on the podcast several months ago about the fact that they couldn't paint Spike's face in this little egg shape, and they're obviously not doing it for Daniel here. And they're just repeating the same formula, but putting it on what looks to be Wheelie's body.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's still unattractive to a lot of people, I would imagine.
Yeah, so I know that there've been people who've been so upset about the wheelie figure's articulation that people have come up with 3D prints.
Yes.
To sort of cut through there and place a hinge into the leg to allow him to stand up, and it's like, it's wheelie, who cares? But yeah.
Just get the Titans Returns wheelie. That's probably like the definitive classics wheelie anyway.
Very much, very much.
Yeah.
Do you guys think so? Because I looked at it as a substitute, and I just couldn't get into it. I just felt it wasn't as close to the cartoon as it could have been.
It's not very close to the cartoon, but it's a well articulated small figure that when you look at it, it's obviously wheelie.
Yeah.
But in fact, he's probably closer to the cartoon than any other toy for him. But yeah,
Definitely the G1 toy.
Yeah.
But Slag,
So, yeah.
I mean, guys, this is fantastic. This is so good.
He does look good, doesn't he?
Yeah, there's a great picture of him standing next to Grimlock, which I think is picture 8, Jace, on the screen. Oh, sorry, in robot mode, I meant. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the only very, very small nitpick that I would come up with is that I thought that Slag is a little more shorter than Grimlock. This one kind of looks like almost head height is the same in terms of scale. And I'm a stickler for scale.
I know. I was just thinking this is going to be the third time that we're going to talk about angles and shit like that.
There's also the fact that
I'm sorry for raising the scale question. I'm
Slag
sorry.
actually does stand sort of eye to eye with Grimlock.
Yeah, there's another photo where you can sort of see them there.
Okay.
So I will say in photo 8, Slag's legs are further apart. But also, the other thing I noticed about about photo number 8 is that Grimlock has a sword.
Yeah, that's the third party one.
Yeah. So well, clearly it's a third party sword because he didn't come with one. But yeah.
Nah.
The other thing that this sort of makes me see is that it feels like Slag is sort of very, very, very prominently a rework of Grimlock here. There's obviously bits and stuff that are changed, but why would you make it any different? There's not really that much that needs to change on it, but you can see the waist is quite similar. The leg and the foot design is a bit different.
Sort of similar transformations too. Their legs both clap together and fold over to form the back of their dinosaur mode.
Yeah.
But does the chest come down like on Grimlock's, that gold section of the chest you pull out and then down? Does that happen on Slag as well? I can't remember.
Slag, his chest piece is just his Triceratops jaw. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure that that's the case in this one. Like the chest piece looks slightly different, but the other thing that I feel like the chest piece coming down on the 86 Grimlock, that's sort of because he stands upright as a T-Rex, whereas Slag's going to be down on all fours.
Yeah, you're right, actually, because I can see in the background photo number 4 actually has a very unusual shot underneath Slag looking up.
Yeah, and you can see his mouth there as well.
Yeah. That's interesting. So the head must disappear, and then that
looks
gold
like the
jaw.
Yeah, it looks like the jaw probably goes up into the upper mouth, and then the head sort of flips up. Maybe.
Yeah.
It looks like it.
And then the gun sticks in his little tail. Look at that. That's a place to keep his gun.
It's better than the place you keep the gun on Grimlock.
Yeah.
On the back.
That thing confuses the shit out of anyone who's trying to figure out how to store it.
Yeah. But they look great
they
together
look great
in bot
together.
mode.
They do.
Oh my god, that's amazing. That looks so
This
good.
is making me hopeful that the rumor about the Dinobots will be true. That we'll be getting Grimlock, Slag, and Sludge as leaders, and Snarl and Swoop as voyagers, because that would be perfect.
Really? I mean, Swoop is a Voyager compared to a leader class?
Yeah,
I think that's okay because his wingspan would sort of make up for the smaller body. I had heard that we'd be getting 4 leaders and Swoop would be a Voyager, but I'm not really too fussed about the about whether or not they'll all be leaders or not. If they're coming out at this pace, it's going to be like another year and a half before this set is finished.
Yeah. But also, do you know, you mentioned, though, that 4 are meant to come out plus Swoop. So that was the thing that made me a little bit nervous about this whole line, because these are still SS-86 movie-type figures, right? And you know how Snarl didn't really appear in the movie.
He was in the movie.
Right, but only for like a split second. But I'm just wondering whether they were going to...
Yeah, we know what his backdrop will be.
Yeah, it'll be Autobot City, the wrecked Autobot City.
Yeah. So as long as they do come through with a Snarl, then I'll be happy. But that's this little niggling doubt in the back of my mind that they will stick too closely to the SS-86 movie and just leave Snarl out completely. But it doesn't sound like that's the case.
We'll have to see, won't we? So Studio Series 86 Slag, is it a great Dinobot or the greatest Dinobot?
Great.
Bradley.
Great.
Tony, great. Yep.
Yeah, great.
Is he on your to buy list?
Yes,
without a doubt. I would put him above Wreck-Gar coming out for me.
Yeah, I'm really not too sure what that Wreck-Gar is going to be like.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I just don't know how they're going to deal with Wreck-Gar's cannon nipples. I feel like that's going to be a very controversial part of the toy.
Well, as we were talking about, there's a woke culture that Transformers these days. No, I don't know. I don't care. I think that's a fairly, I'm going to say, prominent part of Wreck-Gar's design.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's much loved, much adored. My eyes are up here, that kind of thing.
At the same time, I would be happy if we just got like a slightly large, slightly reworked version of the reveal of the Shield Wreck-Gar, because that guy was cool.
Yeah, I feel like they've gone to the well too many times with that mold over the years, but I don't like making that mold larger is a new mold, and I don't think they'd go there. But I don't know.
It's just my experience with that mold is when it like twice, because I've had like a couple of versions of that mold. Twice when I've been transforming it, the automorph forces the handlebar sort of to break out of the plastic. So that's why I'm saying keep that robot mode, because it doesn't have the handlebar tits. And just tweak the handlebar transformation so it doesn't break, and you've got me sold.
I feel like we might get a new figure. We'll see.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you know what I'd like to see, though, is we've got Scourge and then we're going to get some sweeps as well, which I can't really understand the difference. But with Wreck-Gar, what would be great to see is that you get like a whole bunch of Junkions as well. So that becomes like the little army builder's dream. You got your sweeps.
Yeah.
And
they could also have it like, like a feature like Cup, where you can just sort of take them apart and swap parts with them.
Yeah, there you go.
Actually, that would be cool for Wreck-Gar. and for other Junkions if they were to do them as well. That actually sort of makes me wish that. So the rumor is that Wreck-Gar's a Voyager, but if they did Wreck-Gar at a deluxe scale, like that would actually be pretty cool. They could also then do sort of other, maybe one or two other Junkions.
Shattered glass Junkions.
No, I know they'll avoid that. Although it would give them a mold to use for Shattered Glass Junkions, and they do seem to like erasing Fun Pub Shattered Glass figures from history. So who knows? Who knows? Let's move on.
Yeah.
Wanted to talk a little bit about some promotional packs that have been sent out to media over the last little while. The Allspark and TFU.info have been kind enough to tweet some photographs of the sets. We've got the tweets from the Allspark up at the moment. The promotional packs contain some Wave 2 figures from the Kingdom line, issue number 1 of the IDW Beast Wars comic, and some really nice still artwork prints that they're promotional images sort of for the Netflix show. A lot of these came up as Netflix branded prints a few weeks ago, but now they're just sort of surfacing with a Kingdom War for Cybertron trilogy branding. And so if I go through here, so we'll see a couple of the photos. You have to. My apologies for my computer being really, really slow at responding to clicks, but there we go. So we can see the first art print there shows the Ark, either crash landing or just crash landed as well. With it looks like Cheetor watching it in the foreground. And of course you see the comic there as well. There's the Nemesis having crash landed somewhere in the jungle, which could be setting the scene for sort of how the Autobots and the Decepticons play out in Kingdom, and how they might necessarily wake. And you can also see at the bottom of that image there's Inferno and Air Razor, the toys there as well. Now this one, I actually really like this artwork. I wish I could see the whole thing. I think we have seen it leaked before though. Sort of showing the Nemesis pursuing the Ark through a volcanic section of Earth, and the Ark is very clearly on the run, striking some rocks and things like that. And then we get to this shot at the end. Now this one I find quite interesting. It sort of looks like a throne room of some kind, and you can see that it's got Prime and Megatron standing. Standing in front of it. Prime looks fairly disinterested, but Megatron's ready for a fight. And so I found that artwork quite interesting. We could be looking at some kind of spoilers or something for the future of the Netflix show. We'll go along to the second tweet, which shows a picture of the outside of the box. I really like the artwork on the outside of the box as well, showing the G1 characters and the Beast characters side by side. So like we've got Cheetor there, we've got Primal, Prime, Bumblebee, Tigertron, Air Razor, RC, and I don't know what's going on with this down here. I think that's meant to be Rat Trap, but it does not look like a rat.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It looks like I don't know, some. It looks like it's a very large rat. Like let's put it that way. So yeah, and then a bit more of a look at what's inside. There's a Beast Wars 25 years DVD. It looks like inside, which I don't know if we've heard from any of the outlets that received this yet. What's on the DVD? And yeah, so there's Inferno and Air Razor might be the only figures that were in there. I think it's quite amusing that in sending out something to promote the Beast Wars figures, they've sent a G1 character. You think maybe they could send Optimus Primal and Air
well,
Razor.
there is an Inferno in Beast Wars, but obviously not this character.
It ain't this one, but yeah.
No, it's not this one.
And apparently it looks like there's two of the Netflix War for Cybertron figures as well. So there's a Cheetor and the Black Ironhide Desus Army drone. So yeah. Also, let's just take a moment to acknowledge the fact that Hasbro sent out a suggested hashtag, which the Allspark didn't use. So, well
speaking
done,
of OCD things, can I point out two things about these pictures that really
please.
annoy me?
Go on.
Really annoy me. Can you go to the first?
Is it that they're in portrait, not landscape?
No, that would have been good. If you go to the first one where the arc is crashed, you know that concept art, the first photo you showed?
I need to get back to this one. Yep.
Yeah. So how many exhaust turbines or little circles do you see at the back of that arc?
5.
5.
Okay. Now,
how many are there on the toy?
On the toy?
Yeah.
4.
How many are there in all the cartoon that we've seen? Because like you got to remember this was probably commissioned artwork before they designed the toy, right?
Right. Which they're probably based on it. I get it, but it really bugs me. I don't know why. Because then you're selling the Kingdom toy of the Ark, and you're selling also not selling, but you're putting out this concept art of something that doesn't match the toy at all. Not an unusual complaint to make about this cartoon that in Earthrise didn't show any Earth mode figures either. The second thing that really bugs me is if you go to that photo that you were talking about on the box, the actual lid of the box that had all that trilogy artwork. That is the same picture that is normally on the side of any of the Kingdom Deluxes or Voyages or whatever boxes that we buy.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah, but if you look at Prime's hand, in this figure that Jace is showing, he's pointing at somebody, but in all the other figures, he's holding a gun for some reason.
He's got his
that
rifle.
Really bugs me. They're completely different.
It's actually really interesting. Hang on a second. I'm just going to put Bradley's view up full screen there. Right. So.
Oops, sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, that's what we want to see. It's the same, but a little bit different, right? Like Rat Trap's position is different, but yeah, no, I see. I definitely see what you mean. I think it's probably been like formatted a little bit differently for a widescreen. So like each of the items will be individual
look. 5 exhausts.
Yep, 5 exhausts. There you go. That's my point.
Look, there may yet be a center exhaust on the toy that breaks apart when you see it transform.
But why would they need to change the gun for a finger? It's such a very random kind of thing. It doesn't
really make it a more international market friendly.
Okay. But this box isn't going out to people. It's just going out to press kit people, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. It's so. I mean, look, maybe there's just some options. Like the people who drew it were like, well, hey, we'll give you a version of Prime with a gun in hand. And if Prime was holding a gun, then he would cover Air Razor, right? So like maybe that's just more for the composition of this image. Bradley had the taller version, and Air Razor would have been higher up in the sky, right? So maybe that's why.
No, Prime is higher up on the box, and then Air Razor is sort of down.
Yeah, if Prime had his rifle in the other photo, he would be completely covering Air Razor. Yeah,
that's true. Yep. Anyway,
actually, Prime is actually a little bit different, really. Like he's on more of an angle on the on that shot. Anyway.
So that's my OCD put to bed for tonight. Thank you for indulging me.
Fair enough. That's all right. It's always good to get out the OCD and give it a bit of a work, right?
That's right.
That's good. So yeah, I think. Can
I put this down now?
You may. Yes, thank you. That's the layout we want. Cool. Yeah, we're gonna. Don't really have that much to say about it. I do find it amazing that the Allspark has hashtagged it with #free product. But at least
they know where their bread's buttered.
At least at the same time, they said thank you to @Hasbro, whom I've never actually seen respond to a tweet. But yeah, that's good. So anyway, I think it's good to see this kind of stuff happening, right? Because I feel like this is something that's only started happening in Transformers space in maybe the last 2 or 3 years. Not necessarily as a COVID thing, but I do think that we've seen Hasbro actually sort of start to take a notice of their sort of super fans online and the people who are driving traffic to their sites or driving people to purchase their products. Like we have seen them taking better care of sites like TFW, sites like the Allspark, and sites like Cybertron by actually sending them press kits and interesting boxes of things when toys get released, instead of making those people who do work hard for your page views and work hard for your attention, instead of making them go out and fight with everyone else in the market for their toys like everyone else, they actually do send them these figures. So I think it's nice to see Hasbro start to appreciate the news sites that are doing a lot for them.
Now, we should be clear, of course, that this is in the UK, or is it America?
No, it's the US.
US, okay. But far be it for Hasbro Australia to do the same thing and send something to Jace of the Transformers Collectors Club Australia, right? That would never happen, would it?
I don't think that would happen. Hasbro Australia does know who we are, but also Hasbro Australia has a much better relationship with Ozformers. And I'm pretty sure.
I was going to say Griffin will probably get it, wouldn't he?
Yeah, of course. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe Griffin might post this in a couple of days' time. He might have gotten it as well. I wouldn't expect Hasbro to send anything like this our way because we don't publish news. Like all we do is go through other people's news and talk about it. So I wouldn't expect this kind of thing to happen. Anyway, there's that. We can still look upon it with little green eyes. Right. And ultimately, when it comes down to it, everyone's jealous when someone else gets a free toy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. On the note of jealousy, let's go and talk about Masterpiece. We have seen that Masterpiece Skids and his erstwhile repaint. Erstwhile is probably the wrong word. And his repaint Reboost are coming out in the next few months. Like I say, next few months. I actually think it might be. I think it might be more November. But we are starting to see a lot of press and a lot of images circulated from Takara Tomy, and this is one of the ones that's come out in the last couple of weeks, showing the G1 Skids, who is, I gotta admit, is a character that I don't spend a lot of time looking at or thinking about in his G1 incarnation, and putting him next to his Masterpiece. A couple of interesting facts came out when in the last couple of weeks when Skids has sort of had his coming out party. The same designer from Takara put on the come on, laugh it up. The same designer.
For a guy who claims to not know anything about Skids, you seem to know a little too much about Skids.
Yeah, when was this party, Jason?
The party was spread across all the figure magazines and things like that, and I'll be getting to more of the availability shortly. So the same designer designed the original G1 Skids toy as designed the Masterpiece. So I reckon that's a great little bit of continuity. Honda is of course very happy to sort of celebrate the I think it's 20 or 30, wouldn't be 20, must be 30th or 35th anniversary of the City, the car that is Skids' alt mode. So Honda's very, very happy to celebrate him with two figures coming out this year. There's the blue Skids figure and there's the red Reboost figure. Reboost also comes with the little motorbike bike attachment that came with some of the recolors of Skids. Didn't come with Skids, but did come with some of his repaints, and does fit into the back of Skids. The G1 Skids character does have a boot that can actually be opened up, and the bike can sit in the back of it. So we expect that the Masterpiece version will have much the same thing. As far as Skids availability, he is also a bit of a breath of fresh air. He is available for pre-order for as low as $100 from some places around the internet. So he's a very reasonably priced Masterpiece figure in these days of sort of like $300 or $400 Masterpieces, and it makes me wonder whether or not Takara's sort of listened to the criticism of the Masterpiece line over the last couple of years in terms of its price increases versus its relative quality issues, and whether or not they've actually taken some action to deal with that.
Or it could just be they have no faith in selling Skids.
Oh, I think this has proven quite popular for them.
Okay.
There's been quite a lot of anticipation for the figure coming out, and I think the more I see this figure, the more I like it. What do you guys think looking at this photo?
It's an interesting looking toy, I'm not going to lie, but at the same time, I'm not a Masterpiece collector, so I think I've got the Toys R Us reissue of G1 Skids, and I remember liking the toy, but at the same time, it's a character who only appeared in 2 cartoons and had 1 line. But I think you spoke about him last time as well, Joseph, and he wasn't very prominent in the comics either. Is that right?
There was definitely a role for Skids in the comics, which was fairly prominent. But yeah, Tony, what are your thoughts on this figure?
You know what? I'm a little bit in 2 minds about it because in robot mode, he looks amazing, by the way. But I don't collect. I'm like Bradley. I don't collect masterpieces, so that's fine. But also, just the character itself. When I think of season 2 G1, I don't think of Skids at all because he barely featured, right? So it's hard to get excited about a character that you never really had that much of an interest in the first place. And I wish I read the comics, Jace, because then I would probably be a bit more interested because it sounds like he was a featured character in the comic storylines.
Yeah, and actually, the one thing that sort of strikes me about this is, like, I don't think we're looking at a figure that is sort of much of a prototype, like maybe a painted prototype, but the pink beams on either side of the head holding up the windscreen at the back, that seems slightly out of place for the character. However, it does seem to sort of harken back to his comics appearance and artwork, where around the time you would have seen in a lot of the IDW artwork, a lot of the characters had sort of power lines pulsing through them and glowing, and Skids sort of had these pink lines that sort of went sort of in a diagonal shape around the bonnet, and I wonder if that's a slight nod to that appearance of the character, or we're looking at a prototype that happened to be printed pink and it will be blue on the final release. We will see.
That's a lot of color for a prototype, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if you are 3D printing and things like that, like you do want the pieces to be quite prominent and easy to match up. The other thing that catches my eye about this now is that there appears to be a bit of a disconnect between the blue on the arms and the blue of the body as well.
I also noticed, is the chest slightly crooked, or is it just me? Like, if you look at his abs, it looks...
It could be. That could just be a sign that we're looking at a prototype as well.
Yeah.
It does all seem to tap together nicely.
This could be another Sunstreaker coloring issue where there's one shade of the body.
The thing is, the glass is blue plastic as well, so there wouldn't be... no, there'll still be a color discrepancy, but...
Looking at the G1 and the Masterpiece side by side in alt mode, it does make me wonder whether Honda specified the blue color for this one.
What, you think they've got like a patented blue color for their Honda?
Probably. Like if you're licensing the vehicle and you're celebrating its anniversary, they probably want you to get the color right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. And I think this also feeds a bit more into the prototype possibility, because that front section just looks like it's been chewed on. Yeah,
there's quite a mess around the door, and I think you're right. I think we're definitely looking at prototypes here.
Yeah.
So anyway, Masterpiece Skids and Reboost are available for pre-order around the place now.
Have you pre-ordered them?
I certainly have. We've seen them go up on a number of retailer sites. So yeah, they're definitely around.
Mm. Are you looking forward to having them as a permanent collection, or just passing through?
No, this will be a permanent one in my collection. For all of the fetching we do about how we'd like to see them do new characters and new lines and stuff. No, I'm totally there for the G1 masterpieces. Thank you very much, Don.
Yeah, definitely. How do you feel about Reboost?
Reboost is on order as well. It's kind of funny, right? Reboost comes with more accessories than Skids, and Reboost is the one that comes with the little bike, and so it's obvious they're sort of trying to give people a reason to purchase Reboost as well as Skids. So bring in double the cost. kind of, I think it might be the first time we've actually seen Takara announce a figure and its repaint at the same time. Like usually they leave a respectful 3-month distance between them.
Yeah, like the Seekers never all came out together.
No, but they are releasing all the Seekers in quick succession. So the new Starscream will come out in July. Thundercracker is October, and I'm not sure if they've got a date on Skywarp yet, but I think it will either be December or January. So whereas in the past we had to wait years to complete the Seekers, this time, out they go.
Actually, I've got a silly question. These two are separate, aren't they? They're not being released in the same box, Skids and Reboost?
They can definitely be ordered separately, so I assume that they will ship in separate boxes.
All right. Yeah. Just, yeah. Moving on.
Let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about Unicron. I believe Unicron is a thing that has been happening for people. Bradley, you've got your Unicron this week.
Have I?
Did you? You put it in
the there he is.
There he is. He's behind you. I can't. There's an icon over that part of your screen, so I couldn't see it. No. And Tony, you're not getting a Unicron?
No, I got one.
You got one
3 weeks ago now. Yeah.
I couldn't remember. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
So this there's been much made of the fact that you can detach the shell pieces from Unicron and pretty much mostly form a planet mode, so that you could have the robot mode standing next to the planet mode. Now, there are obvious gaps in that if you do it, and this new 3D printed upgrade kit seeks to fill those gaps so that you can actually... I think we talked about this, and we did say, hey, someone will make a 3D printed rear panel to fill the place where the hands sort of go together in the butt. And certainly that's what they've done here. So this piece forms a large beam apparatus that sits in the core of the planet, attaches onto the stand, and then holds a piece in place where Unicron's hands would be once the robot's been removed, and then reaches out and stabilizes it on the outer ring. So with this, you should be able to, I think it's 5 or 6 screws to detach the outer plates, reattach them and reassemble them around this, and hey presto, you've got a planet mode Unicron and a robot mode Unicron without having to buy 2 $850 Transformers. What do you guys think? Is this something you might want to do for display?
Probably not. I'm still deciding which mode I'm going to be keeping Unicron in, because he's...
Why choose? Here's my pitch for you. Both.
I don't want to take
it's a short pitch, I'll grant you, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't want... Here's the even shorter rejection. I don't want to take a screwdriver to a nearly $900 Transformer I had to wait 18 months for to be realized.
Yep.
Fair enough. So this is also a legitimate concern that I've seen around the internet with people who have just spent that much money on a figure and are now contemplating whether or not they want to actually go taking paint to it. There's been a lot of people saying, I dislike the fact that the teeth in his lower jaw aren't painted. A lot of people don't like the color of certain things. And then it's sort of like these people will go to the point of picking up a paintbrush and then just going, maybe not.
I saw someone painted the inner maw of Unicron, not the outer ring part, but the chompy.
I think I know who you're talking about as well. It's a gentleman on Twitter by the name of Joshels. And there's lots of photos of Josh and myself sitting side by side at TF Nation. So Josh has done an exemplary job of applying some extra paint onto Unicron where it matters. He's not just painted the inner sort of the crushy part of the maw. He's also 3D printed a ring to sit over the grey part of it, and he's also started painting the I don't really know the name for them, like globes, spheres, or in the cartoon there's obvious grey nodules on the rings around Unicron. And the toy, those are there, but they're just orange. So it's a detail that you can bring out if you want to put a bit of paint on your $900 figure. You would obviously need to be pretty confident in doing it and not spoiling it. And at this point, I should also mention that this 3D printed upgrade kit, because you would obviously use the rings as the rings for Unicron, it does come with replacement ring wings for his planet mode, for his robot mode. And that's actually I'm going to see if I can just sort of like find a still image of them in here, because it's actually it's a part
I can't look at this.
It's a part I don't really like about this upgrade kit, and now I've done it.
You blew up YouTube.
I did. I did. It's gone full screen. I don't want to do this. So we'll go back. Thank you. You know what? I'm just
okay. So we got 2 golden rules now. Don't show your Google when you're on stream, and don't mess around with YouTube videos live.
Yeah. I mean, the golden rule is pretty cruel, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing if I can find it here. There's like, nah, doesn't matter. So yeah, I don't really like the 3D printed rings that come with this. I think if I was to purchase this kit, I might be going elsewhere for someone to 3D print me some different wings for his robot mode, or I might not attach the wings to his robot mode because he will actually fit on the shelf better if I don't have them.
Are the 3D printed wings like the same size as the original, or are they like smaller to?
They look smaller. I really wish I could find them. I'm gonna have another look. They look smaller. I don't really like them. They're smaller, and I'm just gonna put myself up full screen. They're more molded so that they come together at a point and they don't detach, because they don't have to if they're only sitting on his robot mode. I don't really like it as much. I think it looks a little bit clumsy. So yeah. So not an upgrade that you guys are very interested in doing to your Unicrons.
Nope.
I got to say, I'm still. My confession is I haven't taken my Unicron out of the box. I can't do it because I know that it's going to be a huge investment of time to try and because as soon as I get it, I want to change it into bot mode. I don't want to keep it in planet mode. But I know that I'm just going to have to spend time sitting down, reading those ridiculous instructions that apparently everyone's been complaining about, and then looking up YouTube videos to try and transform it instead. So I don't know if I can do that just yet. I've got to build up to it.
On the Wednesday night video chats in TCCA, Simon actually had his Unicron out, and I think he's got it down to about 15 minutes from one mode to the other.
Oh wow! Okay,
it's pretty impressive to watch. Going from robot to planet takes a little bit longer, but planet to robot he's got it down pat now.
Nice.
So he's practicing it because when we go to Supernova next month, he wants to be able to transform it for people on the stand
as a speed forming thing.
I don't think it will be speed forming.
That'd be awesome.
You got easy mode of G1 Optimus Prime and hard mode of Haslab Unicron.
It's like, how long you got, guys?
Did I tell you that when we did speed forming at Oz Comic Con? Hang on, I'm just gonna bring this. So we didn't do much speed forming at Oz Comic Con, but we had it there so that people could do it if they felt comfortable, if they wanted to pick it up and have a go and see if they could set a time. And this guy's rocked up. He's like, "Oh, this looks great. Yeah, I'll have a go." Blah, blah, blah. And he sat down. And bear in mind, it's a G1 Optimus Prime. It's a knockoff G1 Optimus Prime, but I feel like everyone is born with vestigial knowledge of how to transform a G1 Optimus Prime. Yeah. And this guy's picked it up, and he's like, "Okay, cool." And start the clock. And he sat there and he's looked at it for a while. He's like, "Oh," he's really struggled with his Optimus Prime, and he's like, he hasn't nailed it at all. I think the record's something like 20 seconds. And after a couple of minutes, his mates come up to me as I'm filming it, and he's like, "Mate, this one's really hard, isn't it?" I'm like, "No, no, it's not." I've asked him, Did you have you transformed a G1 Optimus Prime before? He's like, no, I've never touched it before. I'm like, why did you enter a speed forming contest for it?
I think he thought it was speed dating, maybe, not speed forming. And that's just the thing you need to do before you get to the girls, something like that.
Maybe he just thought that he got to transform it and we'd give him some speed. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Anyway, so Tony, let's fast forward the clock 6 months.
Yeah.
You've got Unicron out. You're very happy with him. The color of the Maw is not a problem at all. And maybe you've even gotten to the point where you might apply some paint and upgrade. Is that something that you might consider doing? Would you consider?
Now here's the deal, right? So after spending $800 odd on this thing, I don't fancy myself as a custom designer like Michael Fouché or anyone like that. So the idea of actually taking a screwdriver to something I've paid $800 odd for and then disassembling this thing just so I can have two different versions of Unicron sort of on my shelf, I'm okay with not having that. I know that I will break it. I will do something wrong to it. I'll create a stress fracture in the plastic somehow, and then I will regret it for the rest of my life. So the answer is no.
I on that, I gotta say, there's a lot of good guides around. Someone shared one in the group about a month or so ago about which screws to remove and how to do it, and even which screwdriver to use. It doesn't seem that hard, and it doesn't seem that hard. And
are you going to be doing it, Jason?
I'm giving it serious thought, and I'm also giving purchasing this kit very serious thought, but I would like to see some changes to the wings. Or
what changes?
I would like to say I've failed to bring up the wings here to show you what they look like, but I don't like the new wings design. And maybe my cat is desperately trying to get out of the room.
Yeah, I heard a meow.
Maybe what I might end up doing is just seeing if I can purchase it from somewhere without the wings, and just dedicate the rings onto the planet mode, and just have him in robot mode without the wings. Never know. Maybe someone will come along with better wings in the future.
But you'd be comfortable actually doing that disassembly and reassembly?
Not by myself, no.
Okay.
But
I've got a mate.
Yeah. I'm going to call my dad. Dad, can you help?
I think I know enough people who would be willing to get in and have a go at this, that I would be, and also people that I trust not to mess around with other people's transformers in a way that would damage them. I think I do know enough people who I would be comfortable doing it together as a project kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about maybe the bar. Maybe the bar is too high, and also I think this upgrade kit costs about a third of the price of Unicron.
I
think it's like that to the end.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I think it's like a couple of $100 or $200 or $300. It's a fair bit of 3D printed material. Maybe wait for someone to cast it in resin. The next part, maybe the bar for modifying Unicron is too high with this, of doing a whole planet mode mod. What about the eyes? Would you consider installing LEDs in Unicron's eyes?
Okay. Now I'm interested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go all the way through that, but I'm gonna see if I can find a good still of this. So
I didn't see the bottom of the video at first. I just sort of said the following video is intended for an audience. It's like, well, aren't they all?
It's definitely look of all the videos that I've watched, this is definitely the most recent. But yes, so I'm just trying to find. So there we go. So this is a good idea about what Unicron's face and his head looks like with the LED kit installed. So
this is nice.
This is really nice. This is following installation instructions from a dude on Etsy called 3D Emporium, and he sells his kits for about $20. They've been looked at by people who do this kind of thing and deemed extremely overpriced. I've still ordered one because I do not have the requisite skills. Like if I put my mind to it, maybe, but I do not have the requisite skills to just conjure this stuff out of thin air, go to JCar and purchase all the bits that are necessary to do it. I'm more than happy for someone to send me a kit to do it. So what we're talking about basically is undoing the back of Unicron's head and sort of jamming an LED into place. I don't think you put the LED in the eye socket. I think you actually put it between them so that it lights both eyes rather than being in both eyes. And the result is pretty impressive. It's let's see if I can find that. That is not at all.
That transforms him into robots in disguise, Galvatron.
Yeah. And so there's a sort of a good look at him there. There should be a shot of him in the dark somewhere around here. Maybe not. There we go.
Nice.
So it's slightly spooky, but yeah.
I'll tell you why me likey this one, because this one is the detachable head that you can just adjust, right? So if I was to do this myself, which is more likely, I would probably I'll be more comfortable because there's less bits that I can screw up. Right, this can be it because the head is detachable. It's not interfering with the rest of that giant body.
That's absolutely true. It's a smaller scale project, and I want to say that it's non-destructive, but I don't think it actually is totally non-destructive. Like you probably do need to do a bit of a mod, but the mod is going to be inside the head. Bear in mind also, so this has sort of been designed for this to work at some point because Hasbro did design Unicron's head with movable eyes. There is a switch on the back of the head, which Bradley would know, but Tony wouldn't because Tony hasn't opened his.
Correct.
There's a switch on the back of the head to swivel around to move his eyes, but with no light piping or anything in Unicron's eyes, you sort of wonder why the fuck they did that. And so, like I was saying earlier, with the sort of the grey globes molded into the orange on Unicron's wings, it's almost as if they've sort of gotten this they've done this to a point and just gone, right, if people want to go further with this, they might do it themselves. And so this is one of the ways in which they're doing it themselves.
Quick question though on this one. How do you turn it on after you've done all the mod and you've screwed the back plate of his head on? How do you just turn it on?
There'll be a switch hanging out the back.
Okay.
I think there's a switch in his mouth, isn't there?
Oh,
there was a shirt, and it looked like there was a shot, and it looked like there was a white wire hanging down from his mouth.
Maybe in the mouth, I don't know. The kit that the photos that I've seen, there's a wire hanging out the back, but
okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's Unicron's head.
Yeah, I'm not going to play too much of this. Oh, there you go. There you go.
Oh,
there's a switch there.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's put the switch there. There might be. Look, these kits will arrive in the next few weeks. So, I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Other people have done it in their own way as well, and I think some of them don't mind that there's a switch hanging out the back of his head because there's already a switch on the back of his head. So, yeah, it doesn't really matter.
I just have a feel like if I were to try that, knowing my luck, like the lights would somehow overheat and melt the head, or there would somehow be sparks shooting out of it. Say, look what I've done.
So while we're talking about Unicron and upgrades and stuff, would you consider buying other upgrades and stuff for Unicron? Like the thing that I would really like to buy would be sort of some kind of a mouth fire mouth breath thing. I think I put those words together in the right order to sort of indicate the way that he sort of like breathes fire on the ships as they're coming in to attack him and stuff. Would that be an add-on piece that you'd be interested in buying?
I would be interested in this is minimal interest. It's a piece similar to what we're looking at here with the light up eyes if it was a separate head.
Yeah, fair enough. I also wonder if there's going to be sort of a bit of a market for replacement heads.
Yeah, they could actually make Unicron a headmaster and really piss everyone off.
Or what if you put a voice box inside a different Unicron head and it just speaks lines from the movie?
We actually don't need to do that because we can just get Bradley to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I am Unicron.
It is my destiny.
Yeah, that's my
You
favorite one.
cannot destroy my destiny.
See, that's spoken like someone who hasn't seen the movie in the last few months.
Yes.
No, I've seen it.
Yeah.
You should have gone to the Orpheum in Cremorne and checked that out in Sydney, Bradley.
I don't know where the hell that is.
Doesn't matter. That's where you should have gone.
Okay.
No, so yeah, it's interesting. So yeah, I also went to the Orpheum recently as well. But yeah, so yeah, it is interesting because some of the lines aren't quite delivered with the same intonation that we've all come to sort of remember them with over the last few years.
Do you know how close they came to not using Orson Welles at all?
No.
They almost did not use Orson Welles at all. They were about to throw it out, and then they did the filter, which we all know and love now as Unicron, because he was half drunk, and he was half drunk and not taking stage directions on how to read out lines, and they got what they got, and they were like, okay, we'll try and make something with this, and they're about to throw it out, and then they did the filter, and yeah, that's how we got Unicron.
It's because he died a couple of weeks after the movie came out, or maybe before. But I remember reading an interview.
It was after.
After, but I remember reading an interview where he was asked about, before he died, he was asked about what projects he was working on, and he talked about just some toy movie that I'm working on.
I think that was Eric Idle, wasn't it?
No,
it was Orson Welles. Yeah, it was like I turn into a planet or some shit or something. Like he was.
But it just made me laugh because you sort of think about how it's so his voice, even though modulated, is so ingrained in the minds of people our generation and above who watched the movie when they were kids, that had he known what that impact was, I don't think he would have been so flippant about it. It was quite an important role, I think, and for his last one, definitely puts him in the memories of a lot of people.
I think it's interesting though, because like looking at the career that Orson Welles had before he did Unicron, which would probably be considered a low point for a man like that. Like he's not remembered. He's not remembered for this role. Like he's remembered for.
It's just remembered as his
myriad others.
As his last role, but even then, it's sort of like.
It's not remembered as his last role. It's simply a statement of fact that it was his last role.
Yeah.
But anyway, Unicron LED kit, something I have ordered. Am looking forward to getting a hold of it and seeing what we can do. I got one more news story, and then I got like a 5 or 10 minute discussion piece that I'd like us to tackle about Titans. And so let's get on to that very quickly. NewAge has gone slightly insane with the repaints. NewAge's Seeker mold has proven very, very popular with collectors everywhere, and like rightly so. Like NewAge's stuff is just really, really gorgeous. They're very small figures. They're very, very well articulated, and now that they've got a Seeker, they're not letting up. They are releasing three new repaints they've announced. We are looking at the toy color Starscream here, and the toy color Starscream will be joined by the Shattered Glass / Action Master Thundercracker design here, which is a reference to the old Action Master in a robot from his G1 Action Master incarnation, which was itself adopted as the Shattered Glass version of Thundercracker. Looks hot with all of these colors on it, but also I have not invested into NewAge's Seeker line, and there is also like every other Seeker repaint that's coming out, they also have a Red Wing, who we last saw in the Generation Selects line as a Siege Seeker repaint as well. What do you guys think? Are you guys into NewAge Seekers? I don't know. Are you guys into many third-party figures or Legend scale figures at all?
I'm just interested that the Shattered Glass Thundercracker could just be like an unpainted prototype.
Just print it in all these pieces, break it apart, and then put it back together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you know my stance on third party.
Actually, no, I don't really. But like, please do articulate.
Well, I'm not a huge fan of third-party toys. I prefer to have official Hasbro Takara Tomy toys in my collection. And at the same time, I don't. What scale were these? Sorry.
These are legend scale, so they're quite small.
Okay. It's a no from me.
So I gotta say, often when we're putting together items in the run sheet, I will sort of steer away from a lot of the third party figures because I feel like there's a lot of official news that comes out every week. But these came up and caused a bit of a stir this week, which is why I put them in the run sheet. So, Tony, what's your stance on third party figures, and are the New Age Seekers something that appeals?
Yeah, so my stance is very much using third party figures as gap fillers in terms of the collection that I have. So a good example of that is Gears, which obviously was going to get a Kingdom release but didn't. It was pulled at the last minute. But I've still got my Magic Square Toys Gears figure, and he's fine. Like, for what he is, he just stands there. He looks great, and he scales well next to all of the other Kingdom/Siege figures that I've got. But other than that, I just can't get too excited about these things because I know that they're not the official versions. I need to have the official cuts, even though I must say these do look good. And if I wasn't so wedded to official stuff, I would probably buy them. But I can't get into it because I need that official Hasbro license logo sort of thing over the top.
Yeah, fair enough. So they do come with quite a lot of accessories. We can see the set there for Thundercracker. I do have some New Age figures. I gotta say, I feel like New Age is probably the best of the manufacturers working at this scale. Some of the new Magic Square stuff is really giving them a run for their money, though, which is really nice because Magic Square hasn't always been quite there. But New Age's Seeker is really fantastic. But it's a bit too expensive for a little legend scale figure for me. Like, each one of these is like $50 or $60.
Wait, this is legend scale?
Yeah, these are tiny legend scale.
Oh,
is this the same? Is this the same scale as Iron Factory?
Very similar. Very similar.
Oh, sorry. I thought this was like a deluxe or leader class size. This is legends.
No,
wow.
Okay. These are itty bitty bubby guys.
There is a lot of articulation then in these things for a legends scale.
Certainly
figure.
Certainly is. Yeah.
What's
that's probably another reason why there's a high price because of the engineering.
Yeah. Yeah, but what's the quality like, Jason, when you transform these things? Like, does it feel flimsy or?
So the main figure that I have is New Age Jazz. Yep. He's got some amazing pieces that fold in upon themselves and fold out to transform, but I always find that the transformation is pretty solid. It doesn't feel flimsy at all. These are the Seekers are very different. The Seekers are very different, right? Like you can sort of see the type of plastic that they're made from these photos, and that's a little bit different to the plastic that I've felt on Jazz a lot of the time. I think the body of these tends to be. It seems like it's made from a softer plastic. Whereas Jazz, being the sort of like the vehicle mode shell, is made out of a harder plastic. I haven't picked up the Seekers in person because I'm kind of scared to. Like, I'm scared to pick one up and just go, yeah, I want this, because if I want one, it means I got to buy 15 of the things.
It's also the like these pictures that we're seeing where they're like in flight mode. It looks like they sort of disconnected their legs. Like if you look at their,
I was looking at that, but I think this part might actually flip up a little bit, and
that's what I'm thinking. Like they've mistransformed it a bit to give it a bit of height.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that might actually be. There you go.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah.
It might just be sort of the way that they sort of position the legs in particular ways. But yeah. So yeah, I'm a fan of New Age's work and their figures and stuff, but I feel like I just can't get into these because there's too many of them, and they're going to be a little bit too expensive.
So it's sort of like these days when you see a Seeker, you just immediately instinctively think this is going to be a commitment because there's going to be repaints up the wazoo.
Yeah, I do feel that, and that's one of the things with the new Masterpiece Seekers. I'm glad that they're going for all the three of the main Seekers sort of within the same year. But I'm also now going, well, if I'm going to do that, I don't need to buy the others. I don't need to keep the others in my collection. I mean, it's like I can sell off the other Seekers and just sort of focus on the big main three and the new designs.
Yeah, I fell down that Seeker rabbit hole back with Siege when the Rainmakers and Red Wing. So yeah, I definitely don't want to touch that again.
yeah. It's like, well, how many times do we need to buy all the set of Seekers?
Exactly. I had that with Chug and Henkai, with those Starscream, Skywarp, Thundercracker, and Dirge Thrust and Ramjet. Now I've done it again for the Earthrise. But I'm okay.
I got them all on the shelf down here. Yeah, they're all hanging around there. Yeah.
I'm okay with it though, because the Earthrise mold is superior to the older Classics one.
Let's talk a little bit about the other New Age figure that has been revealed in the last couple of weeks, which is their version of Shockwave. He looks hot, and also he like every other Shockwave, he comes with a little Shockwave.
He's pulling his own trigger.
Mm-hmm, yeah. I sat down with Clinton from Toy Reel the other day, got him an MP29 Plus, and opened it with me, and we pulled out the little Shockwave. It's like, great, he comes with a little Shockwave as well. So does this one. This one also appears to come with a little stand so that you can hover him in space gun mode as sort of his iconic representation. But this is just sort of goes to what I was saying about the amount of articulation and the detail that they pack into these figures. Like, you can see all the pieces that flip out and slide out on his hips. There's the mushroom pegs at the top of the legs, knees, and there's ankle tilts. The wrists swivel, the arms swivel. There's so much packed into these, and yet they've still managed to give them all this very iconic design that matches up with the what we know of the G1 figures.
Yeah, it's weird because if you go back to that first picture that we saw of Shockwave, is in his knees. That's just like a regular Phillips head screw, isn't it? So that gives you an idea of scale.
Yes, certainly does. Yeah.
I was just looking at these ones. The picture with all the accessories that he comes with, that made me think that this is kind of what that Transformers RED line should be. I know these transform, but the actual look of Shockwave here would make a perfect RED figure, and all these little accessories that come with him as well. I feel like there's a possibility here for Hasbro if they didn't retire that red line.
Yeah, I gotta say, not the biggest fan of the red line myself anyway. So yeah. I don't know, like the red line can't really become a transforming line because then there's nothing to distinguish it from everything else.
No, but I just mean the design of what they've got here. If you took him as the robot,
So they do this in terms of accessories in the red line. They do bring those out, but not to this degree, I feel.
Yeah.
So anyway, New Age Shockwave is also a thing that is coming to market soon. There's a lot of people who collect at this scale who are very, very excited to see him.
He does have a very nice lilac color.
He does, doesn't
very
he?
Very Shockwavy.
It is very attractive, and that's also a sort of a comparison there of their Bumblebee as well. I think New Age has done a second version of Bumblebee as well now. So this is probably the second one, and you can see just sort of how small he is versus how large Shockwave is now too.
Yeah, because if I had to have one sort of critique about the Siege Shockwave,
I think this is a different color deco there as well. Sorry.
Yeah, a bit. The Siege one is a bit too dark, whereas this is like the perfect Shockwave color.
It certainly is, isn't it? Yeah. All right. We've got we can go for a little while longer. Let's talk a little bit about Titans, and the catalyst for this discussion is the concept art that's come out for 2013's original Titan. Now, how many? That's 2013 to now. That's 7. That's 8 years that we've been collecting Titan scale figures, even if they're not exactly exactly known as
Titan class. Yeah.
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 So this concept art has recently come to light, surfacing some of the original designs and concepts for Metroplex, and so you can see his robot mode there. He's sort of originally a bit more of envisaged as sort of a bit more of a chunky and beefier figure than the one that we eventually got, where I think the limbs and everything was a little bit more spread out. Plus, there's all these other mobile base starship and aircraft carrier and city modes in here as well. Which I say 2013. This is 2014. My apologies. So I think it's really interesting to go back to the original Titan and see sort of what Hasbro was planning to do there. They didn't necessarily quite get to it, but they didn't necessarily quite get to it. But it's interesting to see what they planned and then sort of see where they've gone with increasing the sort of the parts count and the engineering over the past 7 or 8 years. Now I'm gonna take the concept art off and just bring us up to discuss a bit of things. So let's just run over the Titans that we've got in the last 8 years. We've got Metroplex. We have Devastator, who wasn't explicitly called out as a Titan class figure at the time, but retroactively is. Fort Max, Predaking, again sort of the combiner style Titan. And they've never really gone there again with the combiners. So we've got Trypticon, Omega, Scorponok, and this year we're getting the Arc. And there is also the extra Titan next year, which is the forthcoming Black Zarak repaint of Scorponok. Now, what I would like to know is, do you guys collect all of the Titans? Do you collect any at all? And is collecting at this scale something that you guys are interested in? Is it something that you do? Tony, let's start with yourself.
I've got to say, historically, no. I haven't been a Titans collector. I really opened the batting last year with the Devastator, Combiner Wars Devastator, but that's only because Amazon had that amazing deal.
And he's been reissued,
Yeah, reissued, exactly. And after that, I went after Omega Supreme, which I think counts as the Titan class. And then that's kind of where I've stopped. So when I think about Metroplex and even Scorponok, when I look at that and then I stare at this box for Unicron that's in my corner, the number one thing that keeps coming to mind is I don't have the space for all these other Titans that I would love to get. Because I've opened that I've gone down that rabbit hole now of Titans, but I've had to stop myself because of space limitations and nothing more. I love the designs of all the other Titans. I'm more than happy to pay the price for them, but it's just I couldn't put them anywhere. And that's my major thing with this. That sort of stops me from becoming more of a Titans collector.
Bradley, you've always got a decent collection of Transformers around where you are. Is your space filling up? Do you add Titans into that space? I think you had Scorponok out for quite a while. Is he still on display?
I've got every Titan toy that's been released so far. I've even got which one is it? Grand Maximus. You know, the Takara Tomy repaint. I've got him, but I've got there's literally no. I was like, Scorponok is my last Titan class toy, and now I have to stretch it out because they're doing Black Zarak. But I've got one shelf that has 6 Titan class toys in it, and I can't fit anything else on that shelf. I've got Grand Maximus has just been sitting in front of the display cabinet for 2 or 3 years since he's been released, and he's gotten very dusty. That's probably going to be the same fate for Black Zarak.
Will it be the same fate for Unicron?
Yeah, where are you going to end up with that guy? It can't be on that.
I think he's just going to stay here because he's a talking point in when I'm doing Twitch streams, and yeah, I've got all the Titan class toys. Not going to be getting the Arc, but I expressed my disgust with that toy.
Are you not getting the Arc because of the missing fifth thrust? Oh my god! I've really done this well. You know what the joke is. Go on.
Yeah. Well, it's not only that. It's just that every Titan class toy, or most every Titan class toy, I've gotten because it's had its opposite. It's sort of had its opposite release beforehand. Like I got Trypticon because I had Metroplex. I got Scorponok because I had Fort Max. I got Omega because I had Devastator. So that's sort of like the reason why I've been collecting them. But now that I've got all 6 city bots in a Titan scale class, I can't think of any other reason to have a character in that scale.
This is one of the reasons why I'm dubious of the Arc as well, because the Arc is a new, it's a new character, it's a new Titan that we haven't really had before, and we've spent a long time discussing it in the last couple of episodes, but it's not necessarily a character that resonates with the people who've been buying all of these Titans that remind them of toys from their childhood. And not that only older fans will be buying these toys, but I definitely think that it's something to consider. The I guess this also goes to one of the other questions that I asked, which is, do you automatically buy a Titan when it's announced? You guys, I think the answer must be no. My answer is kind of yeah, I do, except I don't have Predaking. I don't have Predaking, but I have been buying each of the maybe not when they're announced. The last couple of years I have decided that yes, it's probably time to start buying them when they're announced, because Scorponok became quite difficult to acquire, and Omega Supreme has become easier to acquire. He's been reissued. Scorponok is being reissued, so I think Hasbro's paying attention to the scarcity and the difficulty with acquiring Titans. We haven't seen them go back and redo Metroplex, for example, though. So yeah, maybe they're listening to a point in that they can bring back tooling that's only recently left their production lines, but maybe the older stuff is harder to bring back. I do think if they brought back Metroplex at this point, I think he'd sell quite well.
Yeah, he would. He's going for like extortionary prices on the secondary market.
Certainly is. But you know where my Metroplex is? He's along with every other Titan. I say every other Titan. There's very clearly a Devastator on the shelf behind me there. Every other Titan post Devastator is sitting in its box, in a big box in my storage cage. Like I just don't have the space, and I don't have the inclination to display them, but they are a thing that I want to have in my collection still.
Yeah.
Right. So you're somewhere closer to where, like, if I was one end of the spectrum and Bradley was the other, you're sort of somewhere towards the Bradley end, because you do buy the Titans, but you don't show them because you don't have the space. Yeah.
That's definitely the case.
So Bradley, I'm interested in your comment about the opposites, though. So with the Arc coming out, if they were then to announce next year that there would be a Nemesis bot version, like in Titans class, that wouldn't do it for you?
No, like I said, the city bots are pretty much all I can sort of justify having in that scale. Arc and Nemesis, I don't want to be one of those, those purists, but, Arc is not a character. Kelatran 1 is a character, but Arc is not a transformer to me.
Yes. Yep. It's a landscape, if anything.
Right. Backdrop.
The backdrop.
Yeah, it's the backdrop.
Right. Yeah, no, it's an interesting discussion, because when you showed those pictures, Jace, of the original designs and what they wanted to do, what are the differences in what the toy actually does? Is it less or more than what's in these pictures?
Much less.
Much less. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
He doesn't have he sort of does sprawl out for that bottom city mode, and he does go into that tank mode, but that top left spaceship mode is not.
Mobile-based mode.
Well, he does have a mobile-based mode. That's what the top right is.
So I feel like the concept art shows a lot of pieces that are rounder on Metroplex than the finished product has, and so it makes it feel a little bit more organic by sort of going, well, we can put the limbs in this mode and flip this up and do this, and I just think that's not something that you can do with the finished product. I think there's also a lot of pieces that A lot of pieces that probably don't work the way that
And he also didn't come with that many guns either.
Yeah.
But if we go up to his robot mode, his chest is a lot shallower.
That's right.
And his legs are a little. Basically, if you took that image, Tony, and stretched it, you would have Metroplex.
Okay, right.
You would have the toy that we got.
Yeah. Because if you go further up, Jace, in that design picture up the top, I noticed that his waist is very thin, like it's just a sort of a singular column, if you like. And I was wondering, does the toy also have that thinness? Because that to me looks very odd. I don't know.
If I knew we were talking about this, I should have brought mine out of the display cabinet.
You say this as if I didn't give you the run sheet this afternoon.
You say this as if you expect me to read the run sheet,
and then you surprise me by doing it.
I didn't. I just put in my newest acquisitions and mentioned something that you hadn't thought to put in yet.
Yes, this is true.
But I think the bot design that's on the screen here is very busy as well. There's a lot of little red lights all over his body, and I can't see that being in a toy myself. Like just the amount of detail that would go into it is probably something reserved for a masterpiece line toy rather than just this general sort of Generations type toy. I would have thought.
I think at the time that this came out, there was a lot of deference given to the comic style artwork for Transformers, and so a lot of the comics did go for extremely detailed. So like artists like Alex Milne would put a lot of extra detail into the robots, into the surfaces and things like that. And so like you can see there's a lot of attention paid to like the texture here and where the doors join together.
Not a slight inspiration for the video game model?
No, I think it goes the other way. I think the video game very much inspired how the toy version of Metroplex would look, because I think Hasbro knew at the time that people would probably want a Metroplex that calls to mind part of the Fall of Cybertron series.
Yeah.
Right, but just to be clear, even though there was deference to the comics, when the toy actually came out, it didn't have all of these extra little.
Oh no! This is
Yeah.
concept art, right? Like this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
in the designer's eye. Like if they wanted to design this and had a free for all on budget and everything, like this is how they'd like to design it.
Yeah,
and it's then their job to sort of. It's then Hasbro's job to sort of take this and go, right, well, this is what we want it to look like, and let's see what we can simplify it down to produce it. And so, like, you end up with there's a lot less sort of black and grey parts on it. There's a lot more white and red. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot more deference to sort of the comic art style. And so Metroplex, the Metroplex that I have, which is the Hong Kong AKG convention, one of the Hong Kong conventions, it has a massive comic art. I think it was by James Reyes. A massive comic art taking up the entire side of the box. It's on like an outer sleeve, and it's. I'm pretty sure it comes in under the Thrilling 30 line. A lot of the Thrilling 30 figures were very much based on IDW designs and appearances. They were really embracing the IDW comics at the time for their designs. And so, if you were gonna put Metroplex in the comics, this is probably how it would look in the comics. Right. So Metroplex concept art. Titans are not always a shoe-in for sales amongst even this group. I don't have the Predaking Combiner, but I do have the others. They're all sitting in storage.
The Predaking is very, very well done engineering wise, but if you're not going to have him on display, then I wouldn't recommend going out to pick him up.
Yeah. I've had a few chances over the years to get him, and every time I sort of get to the point where I'm like, all right, he's in the basket, and I've moved my mouse to the buy now button, and then I'm like, I move my mouse to the remove button, and I'm like, I don't feel bad. So,
There's also, another thing. If you're going to have him on display, remember the Dive Bomb's wings, they're all individual stickers. So Yeah.
I don't apply stickers. That's fine. What's your problem?
Just if you're going to put him on display, like when you're doing the podcast.
I have heard little. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say there's a comment on the YouTube video from Tick Tick Boom Design. It says not to the level of that illustration, but you could definitely replicate the lights and etc.
Okay.
So it's the same thing as the discussion about Unicron. Like, is this would you like to modify the now very expensive toy if you've purchased Metroplex? And some people are very comfortable with doing that. Like, there's a lot of lights that you can put into Lego sets now that also pretty much work well in Transformers because they're very thin wires. They're very thin wires. You can really just stick them where they need to go with a bit of blue tack, and like it doesn't really require a lot of effort to install them. And they're sort of pre-made to sort of come along with the wires and connect them up and connect them up to a switch and they'll work.
I think you could also realize this with some like bright pink stickers.
Yeah,
just like a sticker set. Yeah.
You could definitely get a sticker set that sort of looks like that with the sort of the glowing inner part rather than actually having to have something that glows.
Yeah, because the thing with that is the toy itself, that's a light up feature, and because I don't use the light up feature, that's just a black circle in the middle of his chest.
Right. So out of interest with you guys, because you're more into the Titans class than I am, but how often would you transform them? Jason, you probably won't because they're in the boxes, but Bradley, how often would you transform your Titan class?
They just sit up on the shelf.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so for me with Metroplex, I didn't really transform him too often. With like when I get a new toy, I always try and get the transformation down, and then I put it away. Might pull it out once every couple of years. For the combiners, I'm not touching them. I'm not transforming them at all because they're very intricately sort of woven in together. But like Fortress Maximus, I had him out last year for showing him off on. No, I had him out when I had Scorponok, and I transformed him a couple of times, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. That's interesting because I'm the opposite of that. Like, I mean, I don't have that many Titans, but for Devastator, I love pulling him apart and transforming the individual bots that make him up, and then going back and putting him together again. Like I really enjoy that. I'm prepared to invest.
Is it therapeutic?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I guess it is.
The thing is, I should be doing that because I forked out extra for the Takara mode just because it comes with the individual guns.
Right. Okay. That's a good point because little birdies have been telling me that next year there'll be a Menasor sort of Combiner Wars version, if you like, and that really excites me.
So the rumor is that there's going to be an updated Menasor. Motormaster is rumored to be Commander class, which sort of gives you an idea of the scale of the figure. Now, so he's definitely not a Combiner Wars figure. No. There would basically be a commander class central bot, and then probably Voyager size limbs. Yep. Hopefully real Voyagers as well, not the sort of like the Devastator Voyagers were sort of like upscaled deluxes in a way.
Yeah.
Yes, they were. So that to me, I know it's not strictly speaking Titans class then, but it still excites me. And it's but it's all kind of related, right? Like if they're not going to, conventional wisdom kind of says they might rest Titans for a while, right? Because they would sort of have left.
They'd have to do some obscure ones or go back and restart them. And I think if you go back and restart them, you're probably going to annoy the people who purchased a lot of Titans over the last 10 years. I think they should rest them for a while. And so, what else you do? So I do think that there's definitely room to sort of start taking a more detailed look at the Combiner figures.
The only thing I can think of is if they were to reissue Metroplex, they would have to do... What's the name of the repaint? Is it Metro Titan or Necroplex, or the dead version of Metroplex?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, people keep saying they have to do X, Y, and Z. I'm like, I don't think they have to.
We're just trying to justify it to them so they have the repaint option available, so they can get a bit more money from the mold.
Yeah, I get that, but like I think I gotta say the most surprising thing to happen in Titanland in the last year to me is all of the people who saw Black Rarichi released and went, right, they have to do a repaint of Scorponok as Black Zarak, and there's a lot of people who are just like they're not going to do a repaint of a Titan, and oh shit, they are. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Well, they did the actually no, that was a Takara Tomy Mall. Does Takara Tomy Mall still exist?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because Black Zarak's Generation Selects, not Takara Tomy, and the Grand
Yes, it's
Maximus I
definitely
have.
a Hasbro. Yeah.
Yeah, the Grand Maximus I have is Takara Tomy, so it's just weird, I guess. Because in the fiction, they're opposites as well, Grand and Black Zarak.
I've always seen Superion as being the opposite to Devastator, which I know is not technically correct, but I mean, yeah, big bots, combiners, that sort of thing. And then Defensor and Menasor as sort of being their opposites, if you like. It's I would pay money for those. Yeah.
I would tend to put Superion and Menasor as like Air versus Rogue as traditional rivals. But I think that also might depend on the order in which they were introduced in the fiction that you watched as a kid.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I remember getting the Devastator toys, and then literally probably the next month or so, seeing the aerial bots appear in the stores as well at around that time. So I always put them together for some reason.
Yeah, I think it's just. I was going to say something, but I forgot. No, that's all right. I'm looking forward to if that rumor is true about Motormaster being a commander class, because when you think about Motormaster, you think of the cab and the trailer sort of being the one robot, not just like a black repaint of Optimus Prime, like he was in Combiner Wars. So I haven't heard of that rumor before about a commander class with some Voyagers, so that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's something that's sort of come to light in the last few days, I think.
It's gathering steam, though.
Yes, it's gathering steam, and if it doesn't happen, there's going to be a million fans annoyed.
You have to have Motormaster. You have to have Menasor.
Well, we got him in Combiner Wars, but
I'm not actually that greatly fussed by Menasor as a combiner. I'm like, okay.
I really liked the story of his character in the comics, because I read about him on the wiki, and I like this idea of him as a character in the comics, but they never ever touch upon anything like that in the cartoon. It's just really frustrating.
What was the story in the comics?
What is that?
The story in the comics is that Menasor has a split personality disorder because.
Oh yeah, sorry, I thought you meant Motormaster. Yeah.
Yeah, no. The other Stunticons hate Motormaster, and they hate the idea of combining with him. So that's why Menasor has split personality disorder, because he can't decide what he wants to do. So, and they never touched on anything like that in the cartoon. It's just like, here's some toys, here's some characters, here's the toys, buy them.
It's probably pretty deep for a cartoon.
Well, you haven't watched Beast Wars, so shut up.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, considering the standard at which things in morality tales would exist in G1, like I feel like combiners that don't want to combine is probably a bit much.
But I mean,
it's the essential question.
But at the same time, it's very interesting that the characters are so in depth, but you don't see that in the cartoon.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. They're not in depth. Like, the characters don't have that depth in the cartoon. Like, none of them do, really.
Yet we all still cried when Optimus Prime died. Yep,
we did. All right, I think that's about it for news and Titans, and we've gone from Titans onto combiners. So, like, I think it just sort of shows. It just sort of shows.
I think we're just saying that the Titans are sort of would you say evolving or devolving into the commander class?
I think so. I think if you recall, I think we talked about this briefly on the last episode as well. We've been saying for a while that there appears to be a second commander class figure looming for release later in this year. And when we were talking about the Shattered Glass range last time, we did actually say that there's a rumor that one of the Shattered Glass figures is Jetfire. This is also one of the things that apparently the Leaky ship that is Amazon Australia has also confirmed, or one of the Amazon sites has also apparently confirmed a Shattered Glass Jetfire listing somewhere as well. So that says to me that Hasbro is willing to do multiple Commander class figures a year, and we know that they've run out of Titans. So like I don't really have too much of a problem with them resting Titans and just going with multiple Commander classes. Maybe it's 2, maybe it's even 3.
Well, we also know they're a bit loose with the terminology of Commander class as well, right? So
yeah, look at Rodimus.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It's sort of like,
we'll see.
yeah, they were talking about, the Titan label was like, this year we're looking at the Arc, and like Hasbro's just like,
Yeah.
we ran out of characters, so here's the Arc. Hate that, and we've got a perfect excuse to cancel Titan class toys in the future.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that the way that you say that, Tony. Though, like Commander class is very, very loosely defined, because it is. Like there's only been 2 figures beforehand. And they're both very different. Like one's a giant robot, and the other is a Gestalt, essentially. Like Skylinks is two figures that combine to make a robot that's not quite as big as Jetfire. And so it's not like it's actually been defined.
Yeah, I think you made the point a while back when we did talk about it that it was something to do with parts count. That would be the driver.
General, in general, it's parts count, and so like Rodimus looks like he has quite a lot of detailed parts on him. Like we've seen, he's got the matrix storage chamber and all these extra bits, and he's borrowing a bit of engineering from Studio Series 86 Hot Rod. So like there's definitely a lot of parts in use on that figure. Whether they're as big as another or not, it doesn't really matter. It sort of comes down to the number.
Yeah, which I think is a trap for younger players. Like when I first looked at the Rodimus thing being Commander class, I was like, well, no way, because the size, and I think most people would just automatically go to size as being the determinant. But to your point, it's not, and it's not just parts as well. It's also the amount of plastic that goes into it. I would have thought, given the Winnebago that Rodimus has, is quite a chunky little thing, and you can use that to justify the price too. So,
I mean, the amount of plastic does go to parts count anyway. So,
Sure.
All right, we are going to end this very quickly. We're going to talk about some acquisitions. Bradley's the only person who has acquisitions to talk about. Would you like to briefly take us through your new figures for over the last?
Sure, I've got. So I've got. Well, as you can see, I've got Unicron. I transformed him last Sunday, and it was a harrowing project. If you have Unicron, I would recommend not follow the instructions. Go with YouTube videos. I went with MGO and Prime versus Prime because they did very in-depth transformations and instructions, and close look at what you're actually doing.
Well, why did you need 2, Bradley? Why did you need? Was there not one perfect YouTube video that covered the transformation?
No, I like to sort of get a few different views and sort of go with what I think is all right. Yep. I got Studio Series Grimlock, which I'm very, very excited about, with Wheelie, of course.
A piece of shit on the back of his neck, but okay.
Yeah. Also got Kingdom Rat Trap, which I'm very excited about. I did have to do... Remember last year, Jason, when I had Grapple and I said I glued my fingers together fixing him? I had the same thing happen with Rat Trap.
Do you think maybe this is a thing that we might need to be careful about with you?
No, it's just the fact that the super glue that we use, like when I think of glue, I think of like a thick adhesive, but the super glue that we have is water. It's water. And as soon as it touches anything, it just solidifies. So I was like, okay, I just need a little bit here. Went everywhere.
I'm just gonna switch us back to the multi-camera view so that you can see my
Switches back to the multi-view so you can see my.
So, Bradley, why did you have to glue Rat Trap? What did you have to glue on him?
His front beast mode legs are just soft plastic rubber, or soft rubbery plastic, and one of them was ripped.
Plastic soft rubber.
Yeah, it was just ripped, so it was just sort of like coming apart. So I just sort of had to glue it back together. And
another bloody Hasbro QC issue.
Yeah, you can sort of.
I haven't heard of that before, so I'd say it's probably not that good.
And the funny thing was that when I had this, I went out to the lounge room and went to my mum and said, "Mum, do we have any super glue so I can fix this?" And my nana saw it and she thought I had actually caught a mouse.
I would have hoped that by now they would just be like, "Why do you want the super glue? Don't you remember what happened last time?"
It's a fun story and it unites us all in laughter. But the only thing I don't like about this is the weapon storage, because that's the only storage that it has on the instructions. I haven't looked up to see if there's a way you can attach it to his underbelly. Look, there's his face. And last piece. Wow. Dinobot.
Yes, there we go. Yeah, it's been a dinosaur week for you.
Soon to be repainted into Grimlock from what we were discussing earlier.
Yeah, sounds like it.
So I'm very excited to have this.
The little front arms. Do they? Is that consistent with the original toy? Because they look like he's almost like, oh, you like, sort of like flopping his
you can
down.
sort of go up like this, but I honestly don't know why they went with hands so long.
Yeah.
From what I can remember, like he does sort of type at computers with his beast mode hands, but they're not like this flippy floppy.
Yeah.
They're just sort of like, like regular human being three-pronged or three-fingered hands. So
yeah. Do the wrists come up at all? Can you flip them up?
No, that's about as high. That's as high up as they go. So you can sort of wave, and he can sort of go, "Oh, you," but he can't. Behave.
Oh, stop!
But this Dinobot is amazing. If you are a Beast Wars fan and you happen to like Dinobot, I highly recommend this guy. I've had the original Dinobot. I've had the Henkei Dinobot. This guy just knocks the ball out of the park, especially with his... there are a lot of people, dinosaur purists, that argue over Dinobot's beast mode.
What's the argument, though?
It's the fact that he's not a true raptor.
Oh, God.
Something to do with his robot?
Feet. No, it's something to do with his feet. His feet or his claws. Like, one of those is not real.
What about the giant piece of robot that's sticking out from his under?
Have you ever heard of suspension of disbelief, Jason? Jesus. Right.
Wow. What an argument to have. That's
also
insane.
Another thing is we were talking about this on the last episode. I think there's a Beast toy coming out with a painted tongue. This guy's got a painted tongue too.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So they are definitely like spending a lot of attention on the sort of the beast modes and the mouths and things for these figures.
Yeah. So very, 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 very nice engineering, complex-ish transformation, and if you're a Beast Wars fan, I highly recommend picking him up, especially because it's a retail piece. It's not the Japanese Henkei Dinobot or anything else. It's just regular retail.
He's not hard to find, really, is what you're getting at, right? Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
There's a guy on the Facebook page as well that in bot mode, he's taken that sword that sort of splits out into two bits, and he's somehow found a way to rotate it and spin it around.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how he does it, but it looks awesome when he's doing it.
Well, I mean, the way he holds it is you just put that round peg into that hand, so you can probably just... Oh, does he actually have a mechanism that spins?
Yeah, he's got some sort of like electronics that spin the thing around, or it looks like anyway. Yeah,
okay.
It looks pretty cool. I'm presuming that's how he uses it in the cartoon.
Yeah, the funny thing about that is, like, even the writers don't know what the hell it is. But they don't know if it's like a blade weapon or a shield because he uses it as both. In Code of Hero, he uses it as a helicopter to lower himself down and squish Waspinator. So
okay. Is he Inspector Gadget?
no, no, he's not.
It feels like Go Gadget Tail, and off he goes Mary Poppins style.
Hey, you should watch Code of Hero, man. You'll get choked up the same way you did for G1 Optimus Prime.
It's fair enough.
Mm.
Yeah.
I had heard that that Transmutate figure, that if you watch the episode where Transmutate is introduced, and apparently something like 1 or 2 episodes, but
No, she's only in one.
On one, okay, but that you'll cry after it because there's some kind
Pretty
of
much.
sacrifice, or and I thought that was pretty interesting. It does make me want to go and check that one particular episode out.
Yeah, it's very much worth checking out. It will make you well up.
Oh, okay. It's unusual for a Transformers episode, particularly G1.
In which Optimus Prime doesn't die.
Well, no, that's a movie. I'm talking about the cartoon.
Also, for some reason, my Dinobot came with the Megatron sticker, and it's really good to know because Megatron's part of the Decepticons. In case you didn't know.
Yeah, but so the cards don't match the character that they come.
Well,
with.
it's not that I want to talk about.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that the underside is still Megatron, but that's not the spoiler pack Megatron, is it? Because he's got it's not going to show up.
So the cards underside reveals one of 3 possible fates for the characters.
It's just because he's got chains on his chest, like the Netflix spoiler pack comes with chains on his chest, but
maybe maybe it is. Yeah,
it's a very odd design.
Yeah, because that's definitely not the that's not the Siege tank mode.
No, not at all.
No, don't know what it is, but it might be. It's one of 3 possible fates.
You can see it there. See the chains on his chest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the only reason why I'm mentioning the card, because I saw that and I was like, is that they wouldn't do Netflix spoiler Megatron on a retail release card.
Yeah, I don't know.
On a side note, I did freak out when you pulled the sticker off that card. By the way, you just
gone
did it
back
so
on.
quickly.
It goes back on. Like it's easily applied and removed.
I've done it half because I don't trust myself to align it. Back.
I'll be honest with you, Tony. I was actually I was looking at it. I was looking at the under picture. I was like, is that Netflix spoiler? And then the sticker just came off. And I was like.
You did it so casually too.
He had a freak out on the inside.
That's right.
So that's my acquisitions. Very, very happy to have all of them, and
Very nice. Awesome. I have no new acquisitions this week. I have started opening my my to open pile, and I started with 1 set, so I opened up the Autobot Alliance set. It's only 4 months late. Very, 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 very happy with the Ironhide and the Prowl in that set. Actually, I really like them. They're a lot better than the initial reviews made them out to be. So very happy with them.
Actually, I was going to ask you, Jason. Your to open pile, does that include that animated set you got a couple of months ago?
No, I did open that.
Oh, you did open it.
I did open that one. Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, that Autobot Alliance pack is really nice, actually. I remember people complaining about the color of Ironhide's chest, the red plastic, that it was somehow lighter than the rest of the body. But I'm looking at mine. I've actually got him in front of me now, but I've got him standing next to the Galactic Odyssey Ratchet, and they look amazing together. So
yes,
they really do.
Complain. Yeah.
Tony, do you have any new acquisitions to talk about?
I did. I didn't really put it on the run sheet because I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but it was just the core class Kingdom Starscream, which I got.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Which is a cute little dude. But 3 or 4 transformation steps and he's done. But it's a nice homage, if you like, to the Earthrise Starscream figure without the all the transformational points. But they do look quite good together, I got to say. Big brother, little brother.
They do look really good. I may yet cave and get the Starscream. I've resisted all the calls so far. But we'll see.
Oh, yeah. I would have thought you'd. It scales quite well with Unicron as well. So
Yeah, true. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really have a need for them.
yeah, it's $19 from Kmart, so it was a relatively inexpensive buy.
Yeah, cool.
Mhm.
All right, that is about it. It is time to bring the show to an end because we have run well over 2 hours at this point. Small brief notice: TCCA Club news. We will be kicking fundraisers back into gear. We've paused a little bit around the Good Friday appeal and the Gold Bug fundraiser. We do need to get going again on that, so we will be bringing fundraisers back. And the reason we're bringing fundraisers back is because live events are starting to kick off around the country. We've been to Oz Comic Con. I've started to attend a couple of toy fairs around Sydney, and TCCA is, as of today, booked in to attend Supernova in Melbourne. That's on, I think, the weekend of the 21st of May. So just over 4 weeks from now, Supernova Melbourne will be occurring, and super looking forward to that one. Might even be down there for it myself, but Simon and Chris will definitely be flying the TCCA flag there if you'd like to come by and say hello. We will be looking to make some other bookings for Supernova in the coming weeks and months as well, as events occur around the country. That is about it for club news. We are getting close to renewal time as well. We're happy to say that we've set a record for memberships this year. So we will be hoping that people are happy enough to renew again next year and see how we go. We're starting to put ducks in a row and getting artwork commissioned for membership cards, and we think you might like what we've got planned for the following year. We'll see how we go. Yeah. All right, that is it. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you're watching along with the live record, and we can see that a few of you are, thank you very much. It is quite late on a Sunday night, so thanks for checking us out. You can find out more about these stories and links to them all in the show notes. They are distributed on the Podbean site or in the downloaded episode that comes into your podcatcher. You can get in touch with us at transformersweekly.podbean.com. The Facebook page is Australian Transformers Weekly, or all three of us are individually hanging out in Transformers Collectors Club Australia on Facebook. You can find the podcast in your podcatcher of choice if you're not already subscribed. And of course, you can also find the RSS link in the show notes. We are a production of Transformers Collectors Club Australia, a registered club in Victoria run by volunteers donating their time, effort, energy, and Sunday nights to make the club and the world better for everyone. Our goal is to connect Transformers fans around the country. We do it by engaging the community, and sometimes we have arguments with them. You can find out more about the benefits of TCCA membership and how to show your support for what we do at transformerscca.com. Going off world, you can find us on Facebook you can find us on Facebook primarily. You can also find us at Transformers CCA on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter at JM77, and Bradley, you're on Twitch at Groovy Guy Gaming.
That's correct.
That is it from us. We'll be back with more Transformers news soon, or in the fullness of time. Whether it's later this week or maybe next week, we'll see how we go. And I need someone to stall and wave while I find the right buttons to click to throw up the closing credits.
Go, Bradley.
Well, I mean, yeah, Tony's going to wave.
Yeah, I'm waving right now.
Make a difference.
Yeah, all right. Bye, everyone, and thank you for listening, and thank you for watching if you're watching along.